Arjun Malhotra and Meera Khanna looked like the perfect couple, rich, young, and madly in love. But behind the shimmering glass walls of their Sydney penthouse, a deadly secret was waiting to explode. He was the loyal husband who gave her everything. She was the beautiful wife living a double life he was never meant to discover. What began as a fairy tale marriage would end in one of Australia's most shocking crimes. A story of obsession, betrayal, and murder hidden beneath the illusion of perfection. Sydney glittered under the summer sun as Arjun Malhotra stepped out of his black BMW, adjusting his designer watch before walking into the marble-floored lobby of the Malhotra Suites Hotel. At 28, he carried the confidence of inherited success, heir to a Mumbai business empire that had recently expanded into Australia. He was known among social circles as polished, disciplined, and deeply private. When he first met Meera Khanna at a charity event in Melbourne, she seemed like the missing piece of his carefully built life. Meera, only 22, was a journalism student from Delhi, in Australia, on a scholarship. Her laughter was easy, her manner gentle, yet captivating. She had no wealthy background, no social connections, but something about her simplicity drew him in instantly. Their relationship unfolded like a fairy tale. Arjun was captivated by her curiosity about the world. She was drawn to his composure and strength. Within months, their whirlwind romance led to a grand wedding in Jaipur, a royal affair attended by celebrities, politicians, and journalists who called it the wedding of the year. Videos of Meera in her red bridal lehenga went viral, earning admiration across India. To everyone watching, she had married into a dream. When they returned to Sydney as husband and wife, they were seen as the perfect couple, young, glamorous, and deeply in love. Arjun showered her with gifts, from diamond necklaces to luxury vacations. Meera seemed grateful and humble, the ideal wife. Friends envied them, unaware of the secrets quietly forming behind Meera's soft smile. To Arjun, she was perfection itself, pure, loyal, and untouched by deceit. He had no idea that the life he had built so flawlessly was about to shatter in the most unexpected way imaginable. Life in Sydney was everything Meera had once dreamed of. The Malhotra penthouse on the 42nd floor overlooked the glittering skyline and the harbor beyond. Every morning, sunlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows, bouncing off polished marble and filling the rooms with a golden glow. Arjun would leave early for meetings, always dressed in crisp suits, his days consumed by business calls and investor dinners. Meera spent her hours exploring boutiques, attending art galleries, and occasionally posting carefully curated photos of her newlywed life on social media. Her followers adored the luxury glimpses, flowers on the balcony, breakfast spreads, designer perfumes. But behind the filters, her world was strangely quiet. Loneliness crept in slowly. Arjun was kind but distant, often too focused on work to notice her long silences or sleepless nights. Their conversations grew brief, predictable, and polite. Meera told herself it was normal, that successful men were always busy. Yet deep down, she felt invisible in her own home, a beautiful ornament in a house filled with expensive emptiness. She began spending more time outside, enrolling in short photography classes and meeting new people. Arjun encouraged her independence, believing he was supporting her growth. He didn't realize he was also giving her freedom to disappear into another world. As weeks turned into months, Meera's lifestyle evolved. She learned to hide her thoughts behind a calm smile. She bought a second phone, saying it was for university projects. Arjun never questioned it. He trusted her completely. But when she looked at her reflection in the mirror before bed, Meera saw not a wife, but a stranger, someone who was learning how to live two lives without ever being caught. When Meera slipped into her second identity, she became someone entirely different. Gone was the quiet, well-mannered wife of a hotel magnate. Under the name Maya Verne, she reinvented herself as an alluring, mysterious woman who thrived online. What began as harmless curiosity, posting anonymous photos on social media, quickly grew into something far more dangerous. Using her photography skills, she built a secret profile that showcased luxury, confidence, and temptation. Her followers multiplied in weeks, drawn to the air of secrecy surrounding her. No one knew who she was, and that anonymity thrilled her. Maya's world became addictive. She posed in expensive dresses Arjun bought her, using angles and filters to create a new persona, bold, fearless, and admired. Through her alias, she received private messages from men offering gifts and money in exchange for her time and attention. One of them was Liam Carter, a wealthy real estate broker who became obsessed with her. Meera told herself it was just business, that she wasn't doing anything wrong, only entertaining strangers online. But the money and attention began to blur her judgment. Her secret life funded her personal desires, designer shoes, hidden savings, and spontaneous trips under the excuse of college workshops. At home, she remained affectionate and composed, ensuring Arjun never suspected anything. She learned to manage both worlds perfectly, one where she was Meera, the loving wife, and another where she was Maya, the untouchable fantasy. Yet each time she logged out, guilt flickered in her eyes. She convinced herself she could control the game, unaware that the double life she so carefully constructed was already spiraling beyond her reach. Arjun Malhotra had always been a man who trusted easily, perhaps too easily. For months, he believed his marriage was built on loyalty and affection. But small details began to bother him, details most husbands might overlook. Meera started coming home late, saying her classes ran longer than expected. Sometimes she smelled of perfume he hadn't bought her, or carried shopping bags filled with things she claimed were gifts from friends. Arjun noticed her phone was always locked now, and she kept it face down even during dinner. He tried to dismiss the unease, convincing himself she deserved her privacy. The first seed of suspicion came from his oldest friend, Nikhil Rao, a financial consultant who often managed Arjun's accounts. One night over drinks, Nikhil mentioned stumbling upon an online profile that resembled Meera. Same eyes, same scar near her wrist, but under a different name. The photos were provocative and glamorous, nothing like the modest wife Arjun knew. Arjun laughed nervously, saying it must be someone else. Yet, when he went home that night, he couldn't sleep. He scrolled through Meera's social media, searching for any clue, but everything appeared ordinary. Over the next few days, his mind grew restless. He started noticing every inconsistency. Her sudden love for late-night drives, the cash withdrawals she couldn't explain, the new camera equipment she said was for a photography project. Arjun began to follow her subtle patterns, her phone lighting up during odd hours, the secretive smile when she texted. He told himself it was just imagination, yet deep down, he knew something didn't add up. The woman he had married with absolute faith was starting to feel like a stranger in his own home, and the silence between them became more dangerous than any words could be. One evening, as the wind howled against the tall windows of their penthouse, Arjun's doubts turned into an unbearable obsession. Meera had gone out claiming she was attending a study group, leaving behind her usual faint scent of jasmine perfume. Hours passed, and she didn't return. Restless, Arjun wandered into their bedroom, his eyes landing on her wardrobe, perfectly arranged, every item folded with care. Then something caught his attention, a small drawer slightly open, almost unnoticeable. Inside lay a phone he had never seen before. The screen lit up with a flood of notifications, messages, money transfers, and saved photos. Arjun's breath froze when he saw the name on the account, Maya Verne. The profile displayed dozens of glamorous pictures of Meera, styled in ways he had never seen her before. Each post had comments and messages from men across the world, compliments, love confessions, and payment confirmations. His hands trembled as he opened a chat with someone named Liam Carter, a wealthy real estate developer. The messages were intimate, personal, and unmistakably romantic. One image showed Meera, or rather Maya, wearing the diamond necklace he had gifted her on their anniversary. Shock turned into numbness. Arjun sank to the edge of the bed, staring blankly at the wall. Every moment of their marriage replayed in his mind. The laughter, the vows, the promises of forever. All of it now felt hollow. The realization cut deeper than betrayal. It was humiliation. The perfect life he had built had been nothing more than a performance, and his beloved wife was its lead actress. For hours, he sat in the dark, unable to move, as the truth settled like poison in his veins. That night, something inside him quietly broke. Arjun's mind refused to accept what he had seen. The next morning, he watched Meera move around the kitchen as if nothing had changed, her calm voice, her soft gestures, all rehearsed perfection. He didn't confront her. Instead, he observed in silence, memorizing every detail of her movements like a man studying a stranger wearing his wife's face. Beneath his calm exterior, something dark began to stir. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and each smile she gave him felt like an insult to his intelligence. For several days, he lived behind a mask of composure. When Meera told him she was meeting friends, he nodded and wished her well, but as soon as she left, he began his quiet investigation. He needed proof beyond the messages and photos. Through a private contact, he hired Claire Donovan, an experienced investigator known for uncovering marital frauds among Sydney's elite. Claire followed Meera for a week, gathering footage that confirmed every fear Arjun had tried to bury. Meera wasn't just leading a double life online. She was meeting clients in person, dining at high-end restaurants, visiting hotels under her alias, Maya Verne. The evidence came in the form of photographs, timestamps, and receipts. When Claire handed him the final report, Arjun sat in his office, staring at the pages for hours. The betrayal felt endless. Not only had Meera deceived him, but she had also turned their marriage into a lie he had proudly shown the world. Friends, family, investors, everyone had believed in their fairy tale. The shame was unbearable. That night, Arjun poured himself a glass of whiskey and read the report again, page by page. By the time he reached the end, his anger had turned cold. He no longer wanted answers. He wanted closure. June 12th arrived with the deceptive calm of an ordinary day. The winter air in Sydney was crisp, and the city lights glimmered against the dark sky. Meera told Arjun she had a late photo shoot with her university group and would be home around 10. Arjun simply nodded, his face expressionless. Inside, he was a man divided, silent fury beneath a surface of perfect control. That evening, he prepared dinner himself, setting the table with her favorite wine and neatly folded napkins. He wanted everything to look normal. When Meera returned, the apartment was strangely quiet. The faint hum of the city echoed through the glass walls. She seemed surprised to find the table set, the candles lit, and Arjun calmly pouring wine. He asked nothing, said nothing. They ate in silence, the sound of cutlery faint and rhythmic. Meera tried to smile, unaware that every gesture she made only deepened his sense of disgust. Somewhere between the first sip of wine and the unspoken tension filling the room, Arjun's restraint began to crumble. Later that night, neighbors on the 42nd floor reported hearing a loud crash, followed by what sounded like shattering glass. Some thought it was a dropped vase, others assumed it was the wind knocking something over. No one imagined that inside that penthouse, the perfect couple's story had reached its final act. Meera's scream was brief, cut off before anyone could react. When silence returned, it was heavy and unbroken, hanging in the air like the aftermath of a storm. Hours passed, but no one knocked on the door. The city below kept moving, unaware that high above, a marriage built on illusion had ended in blood. The next morning, the sun rose over Sydney's skyline, casting a golden glow on the penthouse windows. When the housekeeper arrived at 8 a.m., she noticed the front door slightly ajar, unusual for the security-conscious Malhotress. She called out, but no one responded. The penthouse was eerily still, the faint smell of spilled wine mixed with something metallic in the air. As she stepped into the living room, her scream echoed through the hall. Meera lay motionless on the marble floor, her head resting against the shattered glass table. A dark crimson pool surrounded her, reflecting the morning light. Her phone was smashed beside her, its screen flickering between fragments of unread messages and a half-open social media app. Broken wine glasses littered the floor. On the sofa nearby, Arjun sat slumped forward, still wearing his bloodstained shirt. His expression was blank, eyes unfocused, hands trembling slightly. When the housekeeper asked what happened, he didn't respond, only whispered, "She wasn't real." Police arrived within minutes, sealing off the area as forensic experts began documenting the scene. There were signs of a violent struggle, overturned chairs, bruises on Meera's arms, shards of glass embedded in her palms. The security footage showed no one entering or leaving the apartment after Meera's arrival that night. Arjun was taken into custody without resistance. News spread rapidly across India and Australia. Wealthy Indian groom kills wife in Sydney after discovering her double life. The perfect couple that once symbolized modern love had now become the center of a murder scandal. Their fairy tale turned into a cautionary nightmare of deceit, obsession, and rage. Detective Sarah Langford, a calm yet sharp investigator from Sydney's Homicide Division, took charge of the case. From the moment she entered the penthouse, she sensed layers of emotion behind the spotless luxury: guilt, rage, and betrayal frozen in time. The evidence was overwhelming. Forensic reports confirmed Meera's death resulted from blunt force trauma. Her DNA and blood matched the shattered glass and the bottle fragments near her body. Arjun's fingerprints were everywhere, on the weapon, on her arm, and across the floor where he had tried, unsuccessfully, to move her. As detectives combed through the apartment, they found the second phone, the one linked to the alias Maya Verne. It contained messages, payments, and hundreds of images connecting Meera to her secret online persona. Among them was a folder named Liam, filled with photos and screenshots that revealed her ongoing affair with the Australian broker. When confronted with this evidence at the station, Arjun didn't deny it. He remained eerily calm, staring at the table as if the world had already ended. On the back of a torn wedding photo found in the bedroom, police discovered a short note written in his handwriting. Asterisk. I married a lie. She made me believe in something that never existed. Asterisk. The statement became the center of media attention, a chilling summary of his fractured mind. Psychologists later described his condition as a psychological collapse, a breakdown rooted in betrayal, humiliation, and loss of control. During the trial, Arjun showed no emotion. He didn't cry, didn't defend himself. He spoke only once, telling the court he didn't kill Meera out of hate, but out of disbelief. The courtroom fell silent. The jury needed only 2 days to reach a unanimous verdict: guilty of murder in the first degree. Arjun Malhotra was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The courtroom was packed on the day of his sentencing. Reporters, photographers, and curious spectators, all eager to witness the downfall of the man once hailed as a symbol of modern success. He stood motionless as the judge read the verdict, his face pale, eyes hollow. When asked if he had anything to say, he simply whispered, "I lost her long before that night." His words echoed through the chamber, leaving a silence heavier than any confession. The public reaction was divided. Some called him a monster blinded by pride and anger, while others viewed him as a victim of emotional deceit. Social media turned Meera into a tragic enigma, half condemned, half glorified. The Maya Verne profile vanished from every platform, but her photos continued to circulate, sparking endless debates about morality, ambition, and identity. Even Liam Carter, the man involved with her, disappeared from public view after the trial, selling his company and leaving Australia entirely. The Malhotra penthouse was eventually sold, but strange stories surrounded it. Neighbors claimed that late at night, the lights on the 42nd floor flickered on by themselves. Some swore they saw a faint figure near the window, as if Meera's reflection still lingered against the glass, watching the city she once ruled in secret. Others said they heard faint music, the same soft tune that played at their wedding reception years earlier. The tragedy of Arjun and Meera became a modern cautionary tale: how love built on illusion can turn into destruction. 2 lives bound by lies, both victims of their own choices. In the end, no one truly won. Not the husband who sought perfection, nor the wife who hid behind a mask she could never remove.